Okay, so we're going to begin. It looks like it's recording the audio, so hopefully you can hear this and everything makes sense. So I'm going to be using three tools, and I'm going to be using them all three in conjunction with each other to basically semi-automate this entire process. I'm going to say semi, and you'll see what that means in a second. So the first tool I'm going to be using is Google Gemini. If you haven't used Google Gemini, it is free. Again, you can see upgrade here. I'm not paying for it. They have a tool called Nano Banana, which you just click create image, and it's going to start asking what kind of image you want to make. Now, you can actually draw your own image and upload it. So if you want to draw something really fun, like I got a picture that like maybe my kid did or something that I want to utilize, you can use that. Your drawing skills don't really matter depending on the prompt you put in. And if you've used other image generators before, this should be pretty much what you're used to. If you haven't used an image generator before, then this might be new. But basically, I'm going to tell it to create a 3D model reference picture that I'm going to use. So I'm going to say create a 3D render of a character in a T pose. Now I will say the more human your character is, the better, especially since the tool we're going to use sometimes does some odd things with fingers. So hopefully we won't have that problem, but if your character seems obviously human, you should be fine. If you're trying to do something like a Ninja Turtle with 3 fingers, it may get it wrong. It'd probably be fine with a Ninja Turtle, but then you would have copyright issues. So, keep that in mind. So I'm going to say a 3D character in a T-pose. The character has a stylized look, reminiscent, and you can put whatever kind of style you like here. I usually tell it to do a stylized look, but you don't have to. If you want something that's kind of like a photoreal character or something, you can put whatever you want, right? So like, I will say for this instance, unless it's completely off with its image, I'm probably just going to go with it. If it's totally terrible, we'll probably just pause the recording and fix it before continuing. But I'm going to say of Fortnite, World of Warcraft, and other popular games. The character is I should have probably spent a little time thinking about what kind of character I want to make, but we'll say a ghostly knight in armor with the look of a Scooby-Doo villain. Ghostly green and white with a skull face in an open helmet. The armor is missing a piece on one arm, bicep, I don't know, I'll fix the spelling later, and missing one glove. The armor is a very generic knight. With a slim waist. I'm going to say implying a skeletal look. The model is a little cartoon villain-esque. I don't know if that's a good prompt. Again, we are making it up as we go. But I think it's close enough, right? All right, so it's enough to should be able to work with. The T. Oh, one more part. Posed character is on an all white background in a facing front model sheet style. All right. And again, I'm not good at typing, so you can see I'm having to like fix this. I don't know how to spell, that's fine. All right, and let's send. Okay, so the big thing is, and if you spend a little more time with your character design, if you have a drawing you've done or a character you're going with, or you can literally go into Photoshop and steal like heads and arms and pieces, that looks pretty good. So you can see there's my ghost tonight. I might say, can you make the armor teal and remove the text? Now, sometimes when you give it edits, it may modify the image a lot more than you want. We'll see what it does. If it does, again, I'm not that worried for here because I'm kind of going quick. I'm a little worried about the white armor on the white background. I like the look, but yeah, that looks great. So here we go. I'm just going to download the image. All right, so you can see it's created the style, the character, etc. You can spend a lot more time on this if you want. I might actually ask it to remove these weird ghostly flames. Because I'm worried that the model creator will add geometry for that, and I don't want it. I want just the model itself. Even if I were going to use this character in a game and I wanted it ghostly and kind of see-through, I wouldn't want that junk. Now here you can see it messed up the arms, though. I don't really love the look of this. This is one of kind of the drawbacks to this style. Using this tool, can you put the arm details back as in this version? You know, sometimes again, it might be quicker or even easier to use Photoshop to do this because it's the exact same model. I could have gone to Photoshop and just put it together. But I'm trying to only use these 3 tools for this guide. Okay, let's see. So it doesn't know how to give me arm details, but no ghostly flames apparently. So I'm just going to go with this one. It's fine. We could try it with the flames, but I feel like that's going to cause issues. All right, so now that I've got my image, more or less what I want. Again, I don't love that the arms are as plain as they are, but it'll be fine. I'm going to use this tool. So again, this tool, the website normally is all in simplified Chinese. You can, if you look here, I have like this little translated thing active. All I got to do is use the translation tools in my web browser. I've seen Chrome and Edge. I've used both of those. Excuse me, with the auto translation stuff done, and it works fine. So you can see here, the model by default is the new model. I'm going to choose 50K model faces. That's as low as it goes. And I'm going to upload the image. Get rid of that one. Okay. Now this does take about 3 minutes to work. So we'll probably pause the video during that time. But here it is. So I've uploaded that image. So at this point, again, I worked with Google Gemini to create the image. I have the character now. I've uploaded it here. Again, I'm going to pick 50K and do the geometry and texture, which is the default, and click generate instantly. This website right now is free. I am not paying for this. They give you 20 models you can make a day. So even if this model is not right and you're like, okay, I really wish it had the arm elements, or I want to change something else, or I want to work in Photoshop and modify what it looks like, you can run it again. Again, you can do 20 models a day on this website, which is a lot. Like, it's surprising. I've never yet hit my limit, and I've done a lot of models. I probably would hit my limit if I had a little more extra free time. And you can see it only takes about 190 seconds. So think in your own head, how long would it take me to design this character? We did it in a couple of minutes. Probably would have been faster if we would have known what we were doing beforehand. Again, I apologize for that. But then to model the character, it's only going to take 190 seconds. Now, this website does have rigging tools built into it too. For this video, I'm going to download it and use Mixamo, in part because I also want to showcase Mixamo. Mixamo's been around for over 10 years, and there are a lot of tools and resources and videos online for utilizing it. But if you want to see how the tools work inside this program, like the auto rigging tools, you can. There's the model, which is looking pretty good. Looks a bit like it is. I will say the one thing I really like about this model too, I have not found a better website for using this model. All the other ones, if you just Google them in English, cost money. This is the Chinese one that does not. But this model is better than any other one out there right now. Meshy AI is the one I used to showcase, but they are super stingy with their credits by comparison. Again, 20 models. It doesn't even count like weird credits and all that nonsense like American models do. It just says you can make 20 models, which is so nice. But so it doesn't have that weird credit system that Meshy does. And Meshy, again, it's not as good. Like, if I'm honest, they're not as good as this tool. Really close, so I don't want to belittle them. If they had a more flexible credit system, I'd probably be suggesting them. But as it stands, there's no contest. So you can see I'm just kind of chit-chatting, and I think I filled in almost 190 seconds of time. I'm sorry, I'm a little talkative. But as you can see, it's nearly finished. The one drawbacks to this, if you wanted a really nice model for a game you were using, this can pretty much handle a lot of things, but the geometry at the smallest is still 50,000 polygons, which is a lot. On top of that, the UBW mapping that it does for the model is atrocious. The texture's not bad, but the mapping is rough, to say the least. Here is my finished model. What do you think? Pretty crazy sauce, right? And one of the things I love is the statement that people say is, this is the worst it ever will be. Like, model generation tools are only going to get better from this. You can turn it off and see the model itself, which has a lot of clean lines and nice geometry. You can actually see some of the geometry itself. The geometry that this thing produces is, again, by far and wide, the best of any generator I've used to date, and I think it's available. Here's the normal mapping, so it creates a complete mapping set, including the texture and the normal map. So here it is with just the texture, again, without the normal map, which looks amazing, and here it is, again, all together with the normal mapping. So this, other than the fact it's 36,000 vertices, which isn't too bad actually. This is pretty much ready for a game. Like, you could put this in. I don't know how these shoulders will animate, so we might have to play with that. File format, you can use GLB. I would not recommend that because it's not as flexible. So if you're wanting something that's going to work with everything really well, OBJ is probably the way to go. OBJ does not contain any rigging or skeletal data. So if you are using this tool to try to do a skeleton, you'll need to use something like FBX. Okay? GLB will support it, but GLB is kind of that Web3 format, and it's becoming more popular, but probably not super user-friendly. STL is for 3D printing. Universal scene description, this is starting to really catch on hot. NVIDIA is using it a lot. And then, of course, this is a video and an image file, so you don't want those. I'm going to pick object file because it's going to be incredibly compatible with anything you want. So you could bring this into Maya, you could bring this into 3ds Max, you could bring this into ZBrush. Object file will support it all. And I'll click download. It'll take a minute to download here. You can see 37 seconds or so. again, you can click this thing and it will automatically rig it and put bones in. Okay. If you want, I can click it. We can see it. Do you want me to do it? Okay, we'll do it. But again, we're going to use Mixamo. I still want to show you the Mixamo path. But again, this is where I was saying, do I think these tools are not going to be automated? Absolutely, I think they are. In fact, now it's rigging the character. So our AI has created the artwork. Then we've uploaded it. Now it's created the model. Now it's rigging it with bones. You could try downloading the rigged model or the rigged model with animations into Maya and playing with it. But you can see, check it out here. Let me pick one of these animations because Stan's not the most exciting. So, come on. He's coming. There we go. Oh, no, almost there. Here you can see, notice its finger, it's having some rigging issues. See the finger? So there are a bit of an envelope issue with the hand, but other than that one finger, it's pretty good. Notice there's a lot of stretching on the face. Again, this rig is not perfect. Mixamo may give us the same issue because of this weird design on his head. So he doesn't have enough neck, I think, for it to clearly identify it. Again, we'll see if Mixamo does a better job. But there it is, right? Fully ready to go. Let's do walk and see how the walking animation looks. And again, if I come over here and I pick FBX and download it, it will download it with the rig. All right, again, that's taking a minute. I want to see the walk before I switch. There it is with the walk animation. Now, clearly, this thing could use some love, so taking it into Maya and fixing the walk animation would probably be helpful because this spooky ghost knight probably shouldn't walk like this. Right, he kind of saunters. All right, but again, if I come over here and I pick FBX and download it, it's going to download that file as an FBX. All right, let's go ahead and go over to Mixamo. So if you haven't, have you used Mixamo before? Perfect. So you know there's all these different characters you can choose from that are already built in. So there are lots of characters you can use for projects that are already rigged and ready to animate. And then, of course, I want to say there's over 300 or more, it might be over 1,000, like animations that you can utilize. And Ben, this has been around for about 15 years, so there are lots of websites, lots of tutorials, lots of videos on utilizing Mixamo, which is kind of why I like it. But I'm going to click Upload Character, and I'm going to select Character File. And I'm going to literally grab the one it just gave me, open, and let it load. This is not the FBX. This is the first one, the OBJ file I downloaded, remember? So this is the non-animated one. When I clicked download as OBJ. Again, OBJ is not even in this list anymore because animations are not supported in OBJ. So, but there's our model. Again, straight from the generator. I didn't even open that zip file. Now here, you can see you can identify the chin of the character. Going to be as good as I'm going to get. The wrists. One thing I really like about Mixamo too is if you screw up and you put them in the wrong spot, you can hit back and do it again. So I don't know if you've had that problem, but I definitely have. So there's the knee and the groin. Now he's got a weird kind of suit of armor, so I'm kind of guesstimating where his pelvis would end. And then of course we can use standard skeleton, 2 chain fingers, 3 chain fingers. I might do 2 chains so that way, again, they're kind of like mitten hands. Or you can do 3 chain if you want to keep that finger by itself. That might make it easier since I already know that the other program had some trouble with it. But if you want to use standard skeleton for finger animation, that's up to you. Okay, I'll keep it standard for now. And let's see what we get. So again, this one, like all the other tools, could take a couple of minutes to do. But again, rigging a character is going to take you, I don't even know. If everything goes right, at least longer than 2 minutes if you're using one of the auto rigging tools. But if you're having to manually rig a character, it's going to, I don't even know. I'm trying to think the fastest I probably ever rigged a character would be 30 minutes, which certainly felt pretty fast, but was not nearly as fast as 2. And even then, it's because I did kind of a shoddy job. Like, it was not that great of a thing. Let me go ahead and just pause the video because we don't need to just watch that guy spin. Video. So you can see in the head, it's having the same trouble because he doesn't have a clearly defined chin because of the helmet. It's not sure where his neck is, and he doesn't have enough neck. So the hands actually look like they rigged fine. There's a little bit of clipping here, which you could be maybe fixed with the animations themselves, and possibly with the head if you didn't animate it going back and forth. But in Maya, you could fix the envelope and make sure the vertex weights for the head are set to 100%, and then it wouldn't stretch. Again, it would be tricky to make sure you only get the helmet, so if I were doing it, I would probably just literally chop his head off and make it a separate model. Then you would have no problems with it. All right, so let's just hit next and load it in here. And you can see now we have our character ready to use any of these animations and stuff. Again, I feel like the character head's not the best, so it's definitely going to need some work. But the rest of it's animating pretty darn well. So honestly, I think if you download the FBX file from this and then fix the enveloping in the head, all the rest of the animations would load fine in him. All right. Or, again, in this process, now that I know the helmet's causing trouble, I could regenerate the character without the helmet on this by itself, right? Then generate the helmet by itself, or cut it off in Photoshop or something and make it separate, and come back over here and generate this character again without the helmet, or and then the helmet separate and kind of reassemble them, or something along those lines. You know, Mixamo might complain if you upload a character without a head, but I could remove the helmet and do it just as a skull, and then later add the helmet right back on, right? That would be pretty easy to do. And I imagine without the helmet, it would do a much better job of getting the neck right and the head and all of that. Again, this is where I was saying it's not like a cooking show, so unfortunately I didn't think all that beforehand. But one thing that's nice about not having that planned out ahead is you're watching this video maybe, and you're seeing me hit these issues, right? Okay, well, I didn't think this out. Now I would need to go back and fix it, how I would do it. So maybe keep that in mind when you're working on your own character. Let me go ahead and stop our recording.